Very good morning to you. This is Craig here from LifePlan Digital. So I'm going to get straight to the point. This morning I want to talk about coffee. I love coffee. I love coffee. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, when I go to bed at night, I get excitement thinking about waking up the next morning and making coffee and having my first cup of coffee this morning. So here's my first cup of coffee. So good. Anyway, that aside, I want to give you a little life hack. How to consistently get better coffee wherever you go. It's possible. I promise you it's possible. I've been doing it for the last year and it works. Really it does. So what happened was about a year ago I went into a Starbucks and it was quite empty. It was around Christmas time. I'd just come out of a really great meeting and went into Starbucks and it was empty. It was very few people in there, and I spoke to the barista and I said to her, hey, you know, what's the secret to a really good cup of coffee? And to my surprise, her reaction was that she got so excited that I bothered to even ask her about how to make a good cup of coffee. So the result was, and we had a really nice chat, and even like a friend came and joined in the conversation, and the result was she made me a really nice cup of coffee. I bothered to ask her and to show interest in what she does, her craft, and find out, you know, a bit about what she does, and she was really appreciative of my interest. I think she could sense that I was passionate and I really enjoyed coffee, and so she went the extra mile and made me a good cup of coffee, a really nice cup of coffee. Too often I go into, you know, these chain outlets and the people working behind the coffee bar, maybe they're tired, maybe they've had a long day, and they're just churning out cups of coffee all day for people who maybe don't speak to them nicely, whatever. And the coffee's not great. It's a little bit like dirty dishwater. So anyway, so I got this really nice cup of coffee. I was super grateful. We sat down, wrote down my notes from a meeting, and I walked out. And then I got to thinking about what just happened there. So I thought, I'll try that again. And so I did. And I've kind of got into a bit of a habit now. When I go into a coffee shop, if I can, if it's possible, it's not always possible, but if you can, go and speak to the person who's making your cup of coffee and just gently, not in a confrontational way, hey, what's the secret to a good cup of coffee? You know, but just gently show interest and show concern for you know what they're doing, show passion, and communicate to them that you're interested in what they're doing, and you will get better coffee regardless of their answers. I'll tell you now that, you know, in the UK we drink a lot. I drink a lot of Costa coffee. I like Costa, and most of the time when you speak to somebody from Costa, they'll tell you that the secret to a good cup of coffee is love. And that's true. Like, put in a bit of a dash of love and you will get a good cup of coffee. That goes for food as well. And baking. My wife does an amazing job in the kitchen when it comes to baking. She is amazing. I often tell her that, you know, I eat out in restaurants and stuff, but her food is much better. It really is. You should come around sometime. I consistently get the best food on the planet. So anyway, without further ado, I popped into a coffee shop yesterday in Surbiton in southwest London, and it's called the Wags and Tails. It's a new place, and it's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's warm. It's spacious. The sofas in there are amazing. There's places to work. They got free Wi-Fi, sponsored by BT, and it's really such a great place. And so I went up. They made me a superb cup of coffee. So I went up and asked this guy who was making the coffee, just what his secret was. I had my GoPro on me, so I filmed it on the GoPro, and he gave me about 5 minutes of like top intel on how to make good coffee. So I thought I'd share that with you, and here it is. What's your name?
Sorry, John.
John, I'm Craig. I'm Craig. How you, John? Sorry. Hello. So I'm here with John at what's the place called?
It's called Wags and Tails.
Wags and Tails. Wags and Tails is a place in Surbiton. It's a really, really, really nice coffee shop. And so I've just been asking John, what's the secret to a good cup of coffee? John is the chief of coffee at the Wags and Tails. And so I just wanted to get his comments on how to make a brilliant cup of coffee. What's the secret?
Beans.
Beans.
There's two sides of it. I mean, like anything, if you're making food, drink, it's the product.
Yeah.
So in our case, the beans or coffee seeds. It's not actually a bean. And the other side is the barista and his talent and enthusiasm and passion for the product as well. So a bit of both, 50-50. So you start off with good quality beans that have been well roasted by somebody who knows what to do. And then from there you kind of, then 50% of it is obviously then turned to the barista, their skills and to be fair, I mean, a lot of people can learn how to make good coffee, but unless you're passionate about it and want to do it really well, then it'll just come out mediocre. Yeah.
It really is a craft, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's a kind of, it's a skill. I mean, and also, but obviously, you know, it's very easy to learn. You don't need to be, 15 years, honing your craft like if you want to be a Michelin star chef. Much like somebody wants to do, microbrewery, brew their own beer and stuff. It's just as long as you kind of know the basics, and then from there you can kind of hone your own skills. But I mean, for the most part, the easiest part is really is dosage. And obviously, water ratios and things like that, and obviously the grinds. Depending if you make an espresso at home or you're just going to do a filter brew, that's the real kind of fundamentals of it. And then really for you to pick a bean that you really like. And to be fair, all beans are different. So you buy them in green bean form, and then obviously a roaster will roast them. But again, the same 3 different roasters could buy the same beans, for example, Jamaican Blue Mountain. And each one can get a different flavour because of the way they roast it, the way they cool it. So the whole process, that's a bit of a fine art to it as well. And then from there, obviously, it gets to the coffee shop, and then it's for the barista to kind of decide, how, in terms of when making espresso, then they'll need to do a recipe for the espresso and basically work out what the grind size is, or whether it's coarse, fine, in between that. And then from there, the extraction time, so it's the amount of seconds that it brews. And then from there, it's what we call the yield, which basically what is put in a cup. And that is from there, once you kind of figure that out, then you can really get a good espresso. So you can actually do it at home, it's really quite easy. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of baristas will kind of hate me for saying that, but the idea is it's pretty, it's water and it's coffee beans. And obviously, if you take it more of a passion and you kind of really get to know the fundamentals of it all, then it'll be much easier for you to do.
That's awesome. And I see you've made yourself, what's this down here, flat white?
It's my little flat white. So I have certain times of the day I'll drink coffee. So in the morning it's usually an espresso or something like that. And then middle of the day, filter coffee just to kind of see you through. And obviously with filter, it's quite good because you can really, it's the purest way of getting the flavour from the coffee. And then obviously during, later on in the afternoon, maybe a little cappuccino or flat white for me, kind of Italian style. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of varieties. I mean, my ways of teaching, I've been from Italy to New Zealand to Australia to America. So, and everybody's got a little, if you're in America, obviously everybody drinks filter coffee. They don't really drink espresso base, unless you're in kind of the big cities. So they have their own techniques and how they do things out there. And then obviously Italy, they like their espresso and they like it dark and like it strong and like it bitter. I mean, not all places, I'm kind of stereotyping there a little bit, but generally that's the kind of consensus. And then you go kind of where to Australia, I mean the Philippines now, it's kicking off out there in terms of making specialty coffee. New Zealand as well, they're kind of, in the last 20-25 years, they've really been experimenting with kind of how espresso comes out, how filter comes out. More along the lines of lighter roasts to bring out the flavour of the coffee bean. but again, that's got its own issues as well, because obviously you make too light and you're gonna not bring out the oils and stuff like that. So there's a lot of difference. I think London at the moment is probably the hub for coffee. Of all the places I've been to in the world, London is it. Because obviously we're getting everybody from New Zealand, America, Europe, all coming to London, and in the last 10 years it's boomed. And then now from there, New York is starting to take notice, and Rome and stuff like that, and obviously Copenhagen, and all these little places now kind of starting to follow suit. But London at the moment is basically the hub of making great coffee. So if you can't find a good coffee in London, you probably don't like coffee. Maybe try tea instead. But yeah, I think the next phase for everybody is doing it at home. And learning how to brew at home. And kind of people, because I think it's this idea that we're some sort of kind of wizards, and we're sitting here tinkering with little machines and water and stuff like that. But really, it's actually it's basics. Once you learn kind of how to kind of measure your coffee and kind of get your right water ratio, you're mostly there. And then obviously buying good quality beans, preferably non-ground. You buy it straight from the bean farm, you grind it yourself, get a good grinder, get a good espresso machine or a good filter, take it away. Or you come spend £2.20 and you come here and have coffee.
But I have to say the coffee here is amazing, and thank you.
No problem.
I wasn't expecting all of that, but that was really, really interesting.
I went on a little bit, didn't I? Sorry about that.
No, it's perfect. Thank you so much. So there you have it. That was just really informative and amazing experience. So shouts out to the Wags and Tails. I think that's what they're called. It's in Surbiton in southwest London, so if you're ever around, go and pop in. This is just free advertising. The point of this whole story is just show interest in people, show interest in what they're doing, and especially the people who make your coffee. The people who make your coffee, people. They are some of the most important people in your life, and you know it. They are the unsung heroes of society. The people who make your coffee. So there, go and give your barista. Have you hugged your barista today? There you go. Have a good day. See you later.